C'est un plaisir.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure for me to be the moderator of this panel. Initially, it was 90 minutes. Now we have 30 minutes. It's a challenge. I am going to go faster. We have. Let me introduce myself. If KOUADIO, I am statistician and economy specialist of employment matters and a specialist of public policies. I work on this theme in Cote d'Ivoire, but in many other African countries, and I'm the coordinator of the Excellency Center of Statistic and Economic Models and the Director General of the ENSEA School. I have the pleasure to be the moderator of this panel. After this introduction that gave us an overview and with the main question that we need to answer within this panel is to come up with solutions to the challenges that that we are facing with demographic problem challenges that must be dealt with by public services for employment and mainly build together a certain perspective vision to better support our citizens, the users and head of enterprises, workers, independent workers, and all the socio-economic actors to face these challenges. And we have seen in the presentation the challenges about the aging of the global population, also the demographical issues in some emerging countries. There is the migration issue and also urbanization and the multiplication of the different the growth of big cities. The different participants highlighted the problem in terms of the shortage of labor, difficulty of integration of active youth, and also some other problem to attract and preserve talent and answers to these all these problematics. We'll have the opportunity to listen to expert in these matters who will propose a specific solution in their countries. And what is interesting in this panel is that we have a wide range of perspectives to see with different experiences going from richer countries. We have the experience of the G7 countries, and then we have the experience from uh, developing countries and intermediary countries as well. We have some social protection system that are well elaborated in Scandinavian countries, but also other social protection systems that are of low grade in capitalist countries. And this is all that will be debated within that time that we're going to share together. And dear panelists, I would like uh, each and everyone to manage his time. So I would like you to take uh, 3.5 minutes to go to the main point of what you have to say. This is a big challenge. You are specialists. You will know how to do it. Then we'll have time to take questions from the audience. It's a very difficult exercise that you're gonna do. Let's start with Mrs. Nicole Clubs, who is a member of the executive secretary of the association, who is in Belgium. Just a brief presentation from Mrs. Nicole. A brief introduction. She had joined the secretary since March 2023, and she's worked on the behalf of the Germany Federal Agency for Employment, and she has had different positions of responsibilities, advisor, placement, head of team, and many other. And her presentation will be over all the work of G7 group, and on the, the challenges facing by public employment, mainly focusing a presentation on the experience of Germany and Japan. You have the floor, madam.
Is this working? Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much, really, to Director General of Côte d'Ivoire, Mr. KOUADIO, also for inviting us here, and having us here and hosting us. And I would also like to give a big applause and a big thank you to my team from WAPES that is also with us and has been organizing this very diligently here. So thank you so much for having us here. So as you know, WAPES is a really very small team. We are 5 people, seconded consultants, and also some permanent staff. So we really try to work very hard and make all of this happen and all of these initiatives. And one of the initiatives is the G7 working group. And today I just want to present a small part of the work that we have been doing together with the group members. And I also have some of my colleagues here that will be doing the presentation from Germany and Japan. They will also be joining the panel. And if we could open up the slides, because I had also some slides that would be wonderful for the G7 working group, because there's also something that I want to show you. Is it working? Oh. Perfect. If we could go to the next slide, that would be wonderful. Yeah, and then the next one, please. So, So what is the G7 working group? It's really a group of the World Association of Public Employment Services. If we could go to the next slide, please, that would be great, so that the people have a little bit an overview of what we're...
Si tu fais passer les slides, slide suivante.
No, the one before, please. Okay. Yeah, we are really 7 major advanced economies: Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and the US. And during our work, Italy held the G7 presidency, and before Japanese colleagues, and for the time being, the Canadian colleagues are holding the G7 presidency. So they have also, of course, a regular G7 labor ministers meeting to address employment and skills policies. And in their meetings, they usually produce like a communication or how to call it, a declaration. And they always mention WAPES, and they are very... they are really trying to support the work of WAPES and put them in the declaration so that we are included and support the work of the WAPES G7 group. So, and we were mentioned in the last German and the Japanese and also in the Italian declaration for the World Association of Public Employment Services, which is a great honor for us. So, we have been starting to meet in January 2023 for the news topic, which is on a monthly basis. So since we're all far away from each other, we connect via video calls and try to connect with each other and talk about different demographic challenges also. So we really are trying to collect all demographic initiatives that have been established and performed by all of the public employment service members of the G7 working group. We are collecting all these examples together in a written paper, and that will be then later disseminated to all WAPES members so that you all get an overview of the initiatives. We also had a midterm meeting where we were hosted by our colleagues from France Travail, and were welcomed there very nicely. And the topic for that day, what we dedicated the topic on, was the aging population and what public employment services are doing to support them and really to include them into the labor market. That was quite interesting. And I want to show you a short video and then showcase the 2 examples from our colleagues from Japan and Germany. So if we could, please, somebody click on the video. And do we have sound? And the sound would be great. We'll take it just like this.
Activez le son de la vidéo. That's the sound not working.
No, the sound is not working. Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe somebody can fix it or no? Okay.
Because
The WAPES G7 group is really an integral part of the World Association of Public Employment Services. They have been meeting since last year, where they produced a working paper on greening of the labor market, and this year we are producing a working paper on demographic changes. We are super grateful that we get hosted today here at the headquarters of France Travail, where we can create the workshop and the midterm meeting for the G7 working group. The topic that they chose from the demographic change was the aging population. It's a very relevant topic for all of the G7 WAPES group members because it affects all of the G7 countries on aging society, low birth rates, and it impacts the whole economy, their society, and consequently then the labor market and their pension schemes. So the reason here to discuss is to sensibilize also ourselves about possible stereotypes that are existing out there of older workers, and discover also active labor market policies and best practices amongst the G7 countries, but also to include best practices and really the expertise from our partners, the ILO, OECD, and the EU Commission, that are also representing their best practices and their expertise today here. So in the end of the day, we really hope that we have discovered different perspectives from different angles, from employers, employees, and the society on aging labor force and the aging population of the labor market, and to include it really in our World Association of Public Employment Services working paper. Yeah, so as you can see, we're doing a lot on that work, and on that day we collected a lot of best practices, and I have two members of the working group here, and one is my colleague Haben Gebremedin from the Bundesagentur für Arbeit, which is the German Public Employment Service, and my colleague also Minako Takasaki, who is seconded from the MHLW, the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare of Japan. So, and they will be talking really shortly about the best practice of the country and how they include aging or older people into the labor market. So, Haben, I give the floor over to you. No, the presentation.
Ok, merci, merci beaucoup pour cette présentation.
So when we talk about the working group and what they are doing concerning the issues of demographic transition. So now we go over some of these points. I think that we talk about the issue of the aging of the population, as well as solutions that are proposed in countries like Japan, Italy, as well as Germany. But okay.
And we will have the chance to talk about these three experiences. Let's move on with Mr. Marcelo Côte at de l'Organisation internationale du travail.
Of the International Labour Organization. Marcelo is the head of the project at the head branch of the ILO in Geneva, and since his service in ILO, he had vast expertise in youth employment and development of competence, and he contributed to several publications and is in charge and responsible of an important project, which is Intergen, which is the ILO that aims to promote the integration of the age and the elder workers and labor market in different regions. So this presentation will be on public service of for older and aged people. The main point related to the demographic change, labor market, and the labor of the age labor, as well as the extension of the professional life and the public service to the employment. And Marcelo, vous.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Director. Okay. Okay, thank you for the introduction. This is what I actually do. So I'm very pleased to be here with you. So I'm going to have a presentation in English because I assume that most of the presentation speak English. So I'm going to switch into English. Okay, so uh, I had, I had a short presentation because I represent there. I've already addressed several points.
My presentation with these topics, demographic change, how they impact the labor markets, as well as longer working lives, who are older workers, and then what public employment services can do to address active aging. I'm going to skip most of the first slides because most of them have been addressed previously. So we have seen this one about peaking populations. The peaking populations are nothing else but the reflect of two trends that we have been observing, which is the declining birth rates as well as the increase of life expectancy. Here we have some cases that I would like to illustrate to the public and to the panelists. The most striking case is the Republic of Korea, which in the 1950s have an average of 6 births per woman, and nowadays there's only 0.8 births per woman, which means that many women are not having children anymore. But this trend can be seen in many other countries, especially in Europe. Here I wanted to show you some of the social impacts of aging populations, as we can see in the media. So, for example, in Japan, there is a factory that produced diapers for babies. So they were going out of business because there were no more. People were not buying diapers for babies because there were no more babies. So they changed their production and they started producing diapers for older people. This is one of the examples of how aging is affecting societies. In China, kindergartens are being closed and they're transforming them into elderly care homes. In Korea, some large companies are offering up to $75,000 for their employees to have children, but this is not working very well. And in some European countries like Portugal and Italy, elementary schools are closing in small towns. So these are some, things that reflect the trends in aging societies. But what are the impacts of this? We have seen in the previous presentations that there is a decrease in the working age population. So just an example, in Japan, currently there are about 80 workers compared to 100 workers in the year 2000. So in 25-year times, they lost approximately 20% of the working age population. We have some other countries that have the same trend. The dependency ratio, we also spoke about it. So it means how many people who are retired are in a given country compared to those people who are working. So we can see in the case, again, of Japan, in the year 2022, there were approximately 55 retirees per 100 people. But in 25 years, there will be 80 retires per 100 people, which is huge. And there are a few other countries that will follow that trend, South Korea, Spain, and Italy, but at a faster pace, which is very, very worrying and obviously not sustainable. What does this mean for the labor market? Well, if you see the lowest line, the blue one, it shows the labor market participation rate of those people aged 65 and plus. So you can see that it's approximately 20%. It's very low. But as societies age, it means that there will be more people retired than actually active. And this is a worrying trend as well. Skills mismatches also grow with age. So in this case, if we look at these results of Eurostat information, people over 55 tend to have less digital skills, which are one of the most requested skills when people get hired. So all those people age 55 or more have lower digital skills levels, and in particular women on the red bar. But who are older workers? We've been talking about older workers. This is kind of the topic that guides aging society's issues. In the ILO, we have conducted some preliminary research to understand who are older workers. So let's have a look. There is no international definition about older workers. Different international organizations provide age ranges. So they go from 50, 55 to up to 65 plus years old. These include OECD, African Union, some regional development banks, and so on. The ILO itself does not have an age from which one person is considered an older worker, but it has a recommendation on older workers dating back from the 1980s, and it is defined as all those who are liable to encounter difficulties in employment and occupation because of advancement in age. So we can see how age is now here directly linked to challenges in the labor market. At the national level, here we can see some examples of who are older workers. We can see that the age ranges from 40 by the US Department of Labor to more than 65 in most countries. There is an interesting example in South Africa where we can see that people are considered old, males from 65, but females from 60. So apparently you age faster if you're a woman. This is an interesting issue that has obviously consequences for the labor market. Now, there are many stereotypes about older workers, positive and negatives. Some of the positive stereotypes include reliability, leadership, and things like that. But most stereotypes about older workers are negative. And these stereotypes means that for employers, it is not very interesting to invest in training because they will get less out of that. That's what they think. They also think that older workers will tend to get sick more often, that they claim higher wages and other things that in some make them hire people who they will need to pay more money, but will get less out of them. So these are stereotypes that affect older workers' employability. This is in addition to unadapted working conditions. There is a strong correlation between age and disability. So people who age tend to develop some kinds of disability. And if working conditions are not adapted to that, then they will not be able to work. There is, of course, age-based discrimination, known also as ageism, and this needs to be fought. 1 in 2 people in the world, according to the WHO, are considered to be to discriminate against others in relation to age. And we can see on the green line that people report being discriminated against when they're 50 plus. So from 50, you tend to be more discriminated than before. So what can we do? What can public employment services do to overcome the challenges that aging societies and older workers face in the labor market? Well, first of all, public employment services have a mandate to do it. At least those who have signed and ratified Convention 88 of the ILO, because they are supposed to promote efficient and inclusive labor markets for all. They also have a unique role in articulating labor supply and demand. They have a know-how, they have capacity to influence employers' recruitment practices and other things like that. Some of the key roles of public employment services to support older workers include facilitating job transitions and intergenerational skilling, combating ageism or age-based discrimination, as well as upskilling and reskilling older workers. Promoting flexible and age-friendly workplaces is part of the things that public employment services can do to address these challenges. Here are some details that you will be able to see later when the slides are shared. By the way, the slides will be shared in French and Spanish as well. But here you can see, like, as part of the service offer of public employment services, things that can be adapted so that older worker labor market participation is improved. I'll just give a quick example. In terms of outreach, public employment services can start campaigns to raise the awareness that older people can also work and that they can bring value and ease labor shortages. That is a big topic in many countries. Here are some examples of programs in a number of countries that are already in place to support older workers and where public employment services either lead or play a key role on. And then just to conclude, demographic aging is redefining our labor markets globally, as we have seen. Older workers represent both a challenge but also an opportunity for labor markets, especially in terms of labor shortages. Public employment services must proactively adapt their strategies to support older workers, and investment in older workers is essential for inclusive and resilient societies and economies. So thank you very much. With that, I conclude, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Merci beaucoup, Marcelo, pour cette expérience formidable et pour les solutions proposées
for the public employment service who need to rely on the elderly people. I mean, the very elderly people, they are really active, so we can try to tap into the experience and public bodies for employment leads to take advantage and to draw inspiration from all this example that have been given. So now we are going to move to the third presentation. I know that you have prepared your preparation in 10 minutes, but please, you try as much as possible to buy some time. It's not easy, but please try as much as possible to give the gist of your presentation and to try to get the solutions to the problems. So now we move to Mrs. LAPSINA, who is from the agency. Since October 2024, she's in charge of the IT department, who is in charge of the digital department, which is geared toward the users. And she's working at the National Employment Agency since 2014, and she has developed a lot of experience during the years. So in 2002, she has been appointed as a counselor for the issues of the employment, and she also a substitute member for the public service of employment in Europe. So this presentation will be on the experience on this agency in Latvia in sustainable employment and to help to sustain the workers on the labor market. So please, if you can try to try to save some time and try as much as possible to go faster.
Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I'm from State Employment Agency of Latvia, and I would like to present our practice, how we help older workers, those who are in the labor market and need some help to stay there longer and better. So can I ask for next slide? Or thank you. So why it matters for us, demographic context that in Latvia around 40% of workforce is already in age 45 and more, and in the future there will be decrease of workforce by more than 10%. And labor shortages are growing, especially in sectors with physical demanding jobs and also in rural areas. So our key challenges are that older workers often face stereotypes, health limitations and skills mismatches, and without targeted support we are in the position to lose a vulnerable and experienced segment of workforce in our country. Also some global labor market challenge, in fact, that there is a declining in working age population, replacement manual labor with technology, and insufficient skills and education for them. So our strategy is to help to older workers with workplace adaptation and health support, career support and competence development, and also work on public awareness and employer engagement. To our employers, we help with workplace adaptations and health support, with ergonomic workplace adjustments, with financial support, with health improvement measures like physiotherapist exercises, nutrition support, also mandatory medical checks and specialist referrals, and also with development of workforce risk assessment methodology. One more very crucial topic is career support and competence development. With our career consultants, we help them with career consulting to align expectations with real options, what they can improve in their existing jobs or what they can gain in other jobs. Also with skill transfers and mentor programs for them, and of course training options. And also the public awareness and employment engagement, we also work on that. We had a national-wide campaign like Green Light for the strong in years, and also organized a lot of workshops and seminars together with employers to make awareness to them that also older workers are asset for them. And in all what we are doing, the strong partnership is very essential for us, because nobody can reach their targets by themselves. So we, to broader reach for workers in older age, we also work with our partners, universities and social partners. We are creating training labs with real equipment for hands-on learning, how the workplaces can be made better, and cooperate with different kind of partners. In conclusion, supporting older workers is not just a social imperative, it's an economic necessity for us, and long-term labor market sustainability depends on inclusive policies and flexible solutions. By recognizing the potential of experienced workers and adapting work environment to their needs, we ensure more resilient, skilled and diverse workforce. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup Eva, qui est restée dans le temps.
Eva, she managed to stay within the constraint of time, the 5 minutes she gave us. She told about the experience of Latvia, and she also she mentioned the adaptation to the workplace and work environment, the promotion of healthcare, especially for elderly people. And this is an experience that we are going to rely on and draw inspiration from. So the next presentation will be made by Mr. Ivan BARBALIC from the Agency of Employment of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Ivan has been appointed as Director of the Employment Agency of Bosnia and Herzegovina in February 2024. And he was previously appointed as an ambassador in Russia, and he has worked with the UN, where he chaired the Security Council of the United Nations in 2011. He has been the main advisor of the Prime Minister of the county of Sarajevo, and he also had a main position within the framework of the integration mechanism of Europe. So his presentation will be on the necessary adaptation of public service for employment with the experience of Bosnia and Herzegovina facing the demographic challenges and the migration of labor market under high pressure in Europe. You have 5 minutes. Thank
you. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Okay, I should take off this. Well, we did prepare presentation. But then, and in this presentation, we put down many problems that as an agency we have and in terms of situation in Bosnia. But when I seen the size of the screen behind, these problems even looked much bigger and huge, and I said, okay, we're not gonna go with the presentation. And now you're putting the time limit, so it's great. It seems I'm gonna have the chance actually to present the situation in Bosnia through quite brighter lenses, and I appreciate that. But at the very beginning, I just wanna tackle a few overall comments. The first one, I would say that one of the challenges we have is putting the topic of labor markets of jobs in the center of policy discussion and work. We had a survey a few years ago, and we asked young people, why would you leave Bosnia or why would you stay? And what is the key reason? They said it's a lack of perspective. It's quite a vague term, right? And but perspective is about having affordable housing, education, health, pension system. And I think in order to have all of these elements, first of all, you need a job. You need good jobs. And I believe it would be good if overall policy of our societies would be more focused on jobs as something that really connects to perspective of people. I think that the role of WAPES and all of us working together is actually to make this message stronger, that jobs actually to a large extent mean the perspective that people expect from their policy makers. The second one is about the coordination. It's quite clear that in terms of our field of work, there are many actors, and actors come from the institutions, but also from non-governmental sectors. Actors that we deal with are some global players, but also players that function in very small local communities. And it's really a challenge to coordinate and deliver good ideas, skills, projects, know-how, and that's why it's important to me to share what we have and figure out how to distribute the right instruments to right places is actually possible and can change this perspective that we are talking about. And the third one is understanding the scope. And I think the previous presentations quite showed that we have global trends, global problems, that thinking of a labor market, we cannot look at it separately. It's one big place, and problems that exist at one part of this global labor market reflect the labor markets in totally different parts of the globe. And that goes along with the regions. We are part of a big European pool, I call it. And even though we are not member of the European Union, we do share the destiny of workers in the European Union. Right now, we have a trend that there is a large demand for workers in the European Union, and that immediately reflects the pattern that there is a growing demand, and we can see it in an increasing number of people from Bosnia and from our region leaving toward the European Union. At the same time, we have a deficit now of certain skills and workers that usually we had in Bosnia, so now employers are coming and requesting from us to bring workers from abroad. But at the same time, we have problems that other countries also do have, and that's a large number of people who are not at the market, and we actually have to do much better in order to find the right policies and activate the potential working force we have in our country. So I think these are the three trends that we can all recognize, and I think it's important to look at them when we discuss particular cases. So about Bosnia, I'm not going to go into details because I don't have to. I'm limited with time. But of course, we do have negative demographic trends. Unfortunately, we are a country that is going through different transitions. One of them is a post-war transition, and 30 years ago we had obviously catastrophic events, but they reflected negatively demographic picture with a huge internal and external migration. So a large number of people left the country, and also people from different parts of country moved from one place to another internally. Unfortunately, migration continues, and some measure shows that in the next that in last 10 years almost 1/10 of our population have moved from Bosnia. And okay, I see the signal. We do have the trends that have been mentioned here. We do have big problems, but being part of the WAPES, having the chance to discuss and work together, being part of a strong regional organizations, I believe that problems we have are problems we can solve. And for that reason, I'm glad to be here in WAPES today and to work together. Thank you very much.
Merci, merci beaucoup. Merci pour donc
Thank you for this statement, these words, by specifying, by emphasizing the importance to address policies issues. Policies, employment, and especially to have appropriate services in response to the issue that we have in our various countries to address the deficit and tackle a labor market which is under pressure. Thank you very much for this presentation. We are left with two actors. Michel Vans from Netherlands is senior members of information department on work and public employment in Netherlands, and he is also an analyst, and he works since 2017. He is a member of the forecast market and is also a member of the expert group of OECD since 2014. He is also a member of the European Office of Regional Work and recently joined the scientific committee. And in his presentation, he identified the different facets of demographic change, their impact, and the responses provided by the public employment services. I'm going to complicate his task by asking him to talk about some social solutions peculiar to Scandinavian countries like
I'm very honored
Netherlands.
to be here and here in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, and it's a fast-growing economy here. And I heard it has also a very modern harbor, a port, and well, that's a similarity with the Netherlands. Maybe we have the largest seaport in Europe. We are a strong economy with the 5th economy of Europe. And well, we are also an open economy with a large trade surplus, and we belong to the top 10 list of most competitive economies of the world, actually. Could you show the slides, please? These are not mine. Other presentation? Oh, it's yours.
On peut positionner la présentation suivante.
Could you put my presentation? Could you start my presentation? Yeah.
Go ahead.
I go ahead. Yeah. Well, I work for the Public Employment Service in the Netherlands, UWV. 22,000 employees are working at our organization, and we provide 1.2 million benefits, especially disability benefits. Unemployment benefits is only a small proportion because unemployment is very low. It's under 4%. So we have a very low unemployment. And my role is an international one, and I'm part of international networks and several institutes. And for example, I'm working in the working group on measuring skill shortages as well. And that's a main topic in the Netherlands because, well, we have the most tight labor market in the Netherlands of Europe. So the highest vacancy rate and also a low unemployment and a very high, the highest actually employment rate. Then I go to this one, fertility rate dropped to 1.4 births per woman, so that's low. In Africa I heard it's 4. And it's lower than the replacement rate. So we need immigration, and it's simply too costly, too expensive to have many children in the Netherlands. An institute calculated that it costs 137,000 euros to raise a child until adultcy. And I have 4 children. I'm an exception, so I must be a very poor guy. The demographic changes in Europe. Well, we have 1.2 million more deaths than births. So the deaths exceeds the number of births. On average, it is a negative natural growth rate, and this has to be compensated by migration. And that's the case, 2.8 million in 2023. And in every country, you see that incoming migration is higher than the outgoing migration. As it is in the Netherlands, we have a very high immigration rate. In absolute numbers, Germany is number 1, but relatively as a ratio, it's Ireland, it's Portugal, it's Luxembourg, and the Netherlands have the highest immigration rates. This is the aging of the workforce in a graph, showed in this graph. The highest proportion of 55 years and above in Europe is in Germany, 26%, and it increased from 18%. And in almost every country, you see an increase in this share. In the Netherlands, it's 22%, and it also rose significantly. And one major reason is, of course, older population. A second one is postponement of early retirement schemes. That's a second one. Third, a higher state pension age, which is at 67 right now in the Netherlands. And fourth reason is that they continue work after the state pension age, so until the age of sometimes 70 years old. Well, what are the consequences? We heard about this earlier on. Well, it's hard to sustain physically or mentally demanding work. For example, bricklayers or plasterers. It's physically demanding work. And it's hard to continue this at an older age, and labor productivity sometimes decreases. But the positive side of the coin is that employers more and more invest in better labor market conditions and labor conditions. So health management, age management, that's very important, and so they support older workers who want to continue their work. Another consequence is a higher appeal to social security because there is a higher risk to become disabled at older ages. Well, a long period on the labor market, more changes of professions, reskilling and upskilling, although you could claim that because of artificial intelligence, the training costs will decrease, but there's still a need for reskilling and upskilling. And lifelong learning. Another one is more cultural diversity. 1 out of 6 in the Netherlands was born outside the Netherlands. And this has several impacts like import and export of social security rights, EURES, which is a tool European-wise in 31 countries, and they counsel job seekers to vacancies in other countries. We have a staff of 120 people in the Netherlands who helps job seekers and employers in this search. Well, you see, these are some impacts of the cultural diversity, work permits, what we issue, it's more and more important, diploma recognition, etc. Well, I come to the main conclusions as summarized, well, I'm also a very active person on LinkedIn. On a weekly basis, I post articles, and last year 400,000 views. So maybe you could be interested as well in this information, and please connect.
Thank you very much for this wonderful presentation. We appreciate your time and all your insight, the good insight you provide in that presentation. So we are going to the last presenter, not the last on the list, but for Mr. Ousseni TAMBOURA, from l'Agence nationale de l'emploi du Burkina Faso. Il est conseiller spécial du directeur général.
He's the advisor of the director general since 2023. Dr. Ousseni TAMBOURA started his professional career in 1994 at the Agence nationale d'emploi du Burkina Faso as an advisor, and then as a director, project manager, and then director general in 2012. He has been a parliamentarian, minister, and consultant in Burkina Faso. He is the holder of a private law doctorate and also information engineering. So it's a little bit maybe like a complement to the other presentations. His presentation is on the youth, on the responses provided to youth employment in Burkina Faso through a specific project, which is the Office of the Review of Skills and Support of Youth in Public Academia, and also the integration of youth in Burkina Faso. Thank you very much. Thank you to cover your presentation in 5 minutes. Thank you, Dr. KOUADIO. Thank you to all the participants, and I wanted to convey the greetings of my agency represented by the DG of the Board of Directors. Good morning to my colleague panelists, and thank you to the moderator to give me the opportunity to speak. 5 minutes, I have to say, it's small, but it could be much. It's like you want me to go back my country in 5 minutes from the pack of exposition. I wanted to say that what is going to be displayed is what we deploy. What we deploy in terms of responses to the demographic challenges that we are facing, And while I'm speaking, I will elaborate on a few strategies because it's all about where we move from to deploy this program towards the youth. So the program has shown that we have an area of growth and an area of stagnation. Of course, we are in an area of growth. We are in Africa, based in Burkina Faso, whereby the population is very young. Allow me to say that we have considered the three imperative points. The first key point for Burkina Faso, I think this has to do with all the public employment services in Africa, is to develop proximity with the target public. We need to go from the classical scheme of asking the requester to come to our offices. We need to go towards the target population, so we have the concentrated, we use digitalization naturally, but physically we are obliged to go towards the target publics, and we have selected particularly two target publics. Number one, the students, estimated to 192,000 students in all the regions. We have universities. These are training places where the challenges are important. We considered urban communities because there is an internal movement of population, and there's a lot of presence of the youth in the city. So you should integrate the notion of proximity towards the target community. Second imperative is to build our agencies paradigms and intermediation in the market on a job market, because the fact is that the reality in our country goes below, because we have a lot of SMEs. We have a domestic economy which is quite developed. We have individual entrepreneurs that are very important, and these are not functioning based on salary-based employment. And this reality is really catching up with us. So we need to deploy a lot of service and allow supporting mechanisms. So at the end of the day, if you are not an employee, we can be a qualified artisan or put in place our own SME, because this is job generating. And finally, these agencies should impose partnership, because on n'entend plus. So we are not hearing anymore. So from Burkina Faso, we should think and then design and deploy what we call project, what we call offices, and also review of skills and support in the public universities in order to impact the 200,000 students, also the 100 communes, urban communes in Burkina Faso, which is a third of the populations you want to impact 2 million youth. So we are consistent with the strategic plan because we did a vision. It is in compliance with the vision. Simply, what we have observed though is that the challenge of integration persists. 10 years ago, we had an issue of employment, but now we still have the same issues, and the techniques for searching for jobs are mastered, but entrepreneurship mindset is not well developed. Everybody want to go to the university. Everybody want to go in training centers, in training academies, because they hope they're going to find an employer where they can become employers. So we need a shift of paradigms, and I think that this office is going to assist at impacting the youth from there. We also want to leave the idea whereby you just need to receive the young person, update him, and tell him how the job market works. So no, we need to know how to handle this. We should build with him an insertion plan, a project, and in the implementation of this project, the youth should be able to have the possibility for insertion. So there are challenges such as these that are imposed onto us, because if employment are not found for the youth, they will find employment for us, decision makers and service provided. So I wanted to talk about this review of skills and support in four pillars. We have the second one, which is a monitoring plan. It serves no purpose to give advice, serves no purpose to say you have such potentiality, there's such potential, or you have this capacity, and you don't allow him to have an integration. I wanted to wrap up here by saying that we conducted a pilot phase in 2024. We are in a phase where we want to leverage on the project and formulate the project, and we are expecting a lot of partnership and expertise to see how we make sure this project is written with a theory of change which is relevant. And let's hope that by the end of the year we'll be able to deploy a whole set of the project on the expected targets that are public and private universities and the 100 urban communes that will be related by this project. Thank you, Dr. KOUADIO, for the opportunity. Let's hope I've been able to comply with your 5 minutes. Thank you. Minutes, you went beyond 7 minutes, but that's not too bad. Thank you for this presentation. We need to go towards the target public. We need to impose partnership, work together, and mainly answer to the persisting challenges. More generally, the issue of insertion, the issue of integration is both for the youth and the elderly, but also people with disability. We are saying in the framework of the job market, which is inclusive, is a job market that should not let anybody aside, leave anybody aside, and which include the dimensions that we call the macro flexibility and micro flexibility. An inclusive job market is good for a sustainable growth that is an integration of its population. We have the opportunity to answer to the answers provided. We had the opportunity to have the answer provided by a panel of public service of employment going from developed countries to developing countries, and we have addressed issues relating to age population, issues relating to countries whereby the demographic rate is negative, but also solutions of countries where the demographic rate is positive. Faced with the aged communities and the issue of urbanization, what is the solution we can provide? I wanted to commend and thank all the panelists who have summarized those various solutions and who have enabled us to remain in time. We went beyond the 30 minutes that were given to us, but it was important to let them cover the experience, and from there we could be able to go with some resolution, work together, have a certain synergy regarding the various associations and different agencies that are gathered here. With the permission, authorization of the organizers, such as we have wanted it, we will ask the audience to ask 3 questions only. You introduce yourself and you go straight to the point, please. And after the 3 questions, we will now give the floor to each of one of the panelists in order for them to answer in turn for one last word before we wrap up this panel. Yes, go ahead, gentlemen.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much to all the panelists. I saw somewhere in between the presentations also a slide on some things that were happening in Japan and in Germany. And I was wondering
introduce yourself,
if
please, before the question. Introduce yourself, please.
Ah, sorry. I will stand up and introduce myself. Sometimes I forget. My name is Niels Liemann. I'm Head of International Relations of UWV, the Netherlands. Thank you. So in between the slides, I saw some solutions from Japan and from Germany, and I was wondering if Japan and Germany could maybe elaborate a little bit on the solutions they have for the challenges that were just discussed by all the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Aynur Arazova from Azerbaijan State Employment Agency. First of all, thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. We really have got many useful information for ourselves. My question is about the future trend, skills and how to say, and market needs are now coming. I am talking about the energy transition, about green jobs and green skills that needs to be developed in future. Azerbaijan is obligated by, our president decided, and it is a decree of the president that until 2030 Azerbaijan will replace the electricity energy used by green energy, and we are working on it. But of course it means that our market will need the skilled and professional people who will and who should deal with this job that is coming. Could you please share your experience about the programs and maybe some projects that you have in your countries and in your organizations in order to meet the needs for a future coming green jobs and green skills? Thank you.
Much. One person here. Devant là, devant ici, ici.
Moi, je m'appelle Ibrahim Magnok.
My name is Ibrahim Magnok. I'm the Director General of the Employment Agency in Mali. I wanted to continue on the presentation of Burkina Faso. When it talks about removing the paradigms of intermediation, yes, of course, this is something that should be removed. That's because I noted when you look at our markets at labor level and professional integration and the perfecting of the target group. So we have a demographic growth which is exponential. But from a political standpoint and program-wise, there is a rephasing that should be conducted. This is why in this presentation I have been a little bit marked by the action plan for monitoring for the job requesters or applicants. And this monitoring plan, from your standpoint, out of 22 million target, how can you ensure monitoring and conduct an action plan for each job applicant? This is the question I raised for myself, and I also wanted to call upon WAPES here because we are from northern and southern countries. Today you are aware of all the challenges, all the youth and the job applicants who cross the sea and who are dying in the sea, who are perishing in the sea and in the Sahara. All this should really call upon the attention of the public services of the north and the south. And when you see the Burkina action plan, in Mali we also have one, but the funding is lacking. If we are able to develop a program with regard to our strategic vision of our target group and put in context with regard to our own country, we can do pretty much to integrate our youth. Thank you so much. It was with the authorization of the Youth Employment Admin. We're going to take two more questions. The gentleman over there and another one here. Please be concise.
This is Eser Erol from Turkish Employment Agency, Turkey. First of all, I would like to thank all speakers for their fruitful presentations. My question is for Mr. Michel and Mr. Marcelo. There is a risk emerges in the labor market, as you know, with the aging. As we already know, employers demand skilled and experienced workers, experienced job seekers. The older workers has enough experience, and especially in several sectors. And could it be possible to exclude young job seekers to cannot get a job? Is this a risk, as we know? How can public employment services combat this risk to prevent, and what we can do for preventing this risk? Thank you.
Thank you very much. The last one. Last question, please.
Merci beaucoup. Je suis Sissé Mamadi.
Very much. My name is Sissé Mamadi from Guinea-Conakry.
Congratulations and my thanks to all the presenters. But I have 2 or 3 questions. From question 1 is for aging people. If I make a comparison or a brief summary, we have the same realities in the different countries, and employers who are less interested in investing in the training of aging people. My question is to know in which fields are aging people more is employed in these countries. And the second question is, given the fact that employers are less interested in employing aging people, because there are some incentive measures to encourage or to motivate companies to give more opportunities to aging people about their employment. My third question number 3 is for Burkina Faso. Yes, indeed, as the Director General of Mali said, the question of the monitoring and evaluation, is it possible to share some results, be it 1 or 2, from the follow-up and monitoring that you did, and what were some solutions or action that you took after this result? Thank you for all these interesting questions, and I will give the floor. We'll go from this side, from the representative of Burkina Faso to my far right end, and giving the opportunities to all the panelists to answer questions, even though they were not put to you. But please, 1 minute or 1.5 minutes. So, and we'll start from here and we end on the other side, where we have the time to briefly present the example of Japan and Germany on the job market as presented by WAPES. Thank you.
Okay, I will
starting from. Okay, yeah. Okay, so go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for raising the questionnaires. Let me start with the perspective of the G7 group in Germany, and I will keep it very short. You still hear me? Perfect. So 1 or 2 questions were also comparing that. It is a best practice that we presented to the G7 group consulting aging population, aging workforce. How can we make them more interesting for the employers? Not just aging workers, but also workers who have been unemployed for a longer time. And one of the solutions that we use in Germany is a integration subsidy. So we don't pay the employee to go to find a job and to put him in a place, but we pay the employer by subsidizing a part of the wages. So in case of employees who are 50 years of age and older, unemployed and looking for a job, we offer the employer to pay up to 50% of the wages for a couple months. Depends on the personal situation of the employee, to make sure that the employer has the time to get to know the employee, to put him in work, and also make it possible for him to know how to work in his company and find a way to be a valuable part of his company. And then after a couple of months, usually the employers, if they are satisfied with the work of the employee, they take him on full and then they pay the wages for him. So one incentive is to say, not to give the employee a benefit, a financial, although he is getting it at the end of the day because he's getting the full salary, but supporting the employer to pay the wages, which makes it possible for him to employ him. Thank you.
Bien, merci pour toutes ces questions d'intérêt posées. Alors, très rapidement, pour le plan d'action et de suivi, déjà, il faut considérer que le programme est envisagé pour 5 ans. Je pense que la mesure du temps permet de voir dans quel espace de temps le suivi va se faire. Deuxièmement, ça implique ce que j'ai dit, un des impératifs de nos nouvelles stratégies, c'est de construire des partenariats. Quand on se positionne comme un SPE avec 200 agents ou 150 agents, pour faire ça, ça va être très difficile. Il faut donc envisager des partenariats avec d'autres acteurs qui peuvent donc, par des contrats de prestation de services, ou bien par la stratégie de faire. Lorsque nous déployons un bureau de bilan de compétences dans une université ou dans une commune, on peut, tout en restant maître des process, on peut contractualiser, faire en sorte que d'autres acteurs puissent déployer ce travail. Deuxième condition pour assurer ce suivi, c'est la digitalisation. Ce type d'activité ne peut pas se faire si
this kind of activity cannot be done if we do not digitalize our actions. So, about the second question related to fund mobilization, we need to change the paradigm that all the actors will mobilize internal and external resources. There is also multilateral partnership. There is many multilateral partnership. We need to initiate multilateral partnership with the countries from the north, with the World Bank and other bodies. Find systems of funding our public service employment. And I see that multilateralism is not well developed. I think there was a third question. Oh, we were talking about the sharing of results in Burkina Faso. A law has been signed that gives the enterprises a status. It means that for 2 years, a student can have the status of entrepreneur, but they are not subjected to the normal, the ordinary condition for a company. Just a way to encourage them into entrepreneurship. I think we do have our email. We can exchange and share information.
Well, thank you very much for the questions. I will go through them very quickly. The first one on the examples of Germany and Japan, I think it's better for them to explain them directly, but I will just say that the project that we're implementing in the ILO, generously funded by the Republic of Korea, looks at finding good practices and innovations from public employment services around the world to address aging society's issues. The question from Azerbaijan, what can we do for the green transition? In the ILO, we use a framework called the Just Transition Guidelines that has been adopted in a tripartite manner by employers, workers, and governments. And as part of this, we have developed some tools included in the active labor market policy for green transitions and just transitions, in which we include aspects such as skilling, reskilling, and upskilling, wage subsidies for greening companies, green entrepreneurship, and obviously public employment services guidance. And we are about to publish by the end of this year or next year further guidance on what public employment services can do for green transitions. Regarding the question from Turkey on whether supporting old people is negative for young people. There is an ongoing debate on this. We have conducted a preliminary research in the ILO, and there are no conclusive findings that show that investing in older workers' labor market support is detrimental to young people. It's not the case. This is simply because the skills and the experience that older workers can have is not the same that a young graduate can have. So we will keep researching in this area. Then what can public employment services can do to overcome the risk of leaving young people behind? We are promoting intergenerational workplaces.
May you conclude quickly?
Pardon
May you conclude? We should go ahead.
Sure, no problem.
Sure. Okay.
An answer to the question of Turkey as well, a brief one. Yeah, that's about the position of older workers and younger workers, and there is a kind of substitute between them. You could say we have a wage subsidy for older workers in the Netherlands, but this is being abolished right now because it doesn't help really. What helps is a good economy and employment opportunities, and that helps young people and old people. That's one, and also important is to retain older workers, to improve labor conditions at work, and then it's easier to continue work and you won't be fired.
Thank you. Well, I think everything that has been discussed in a way shows that global challenges affect the big ones and the ones who are still developing. And I think, unfortunately, this gap remains, and probably it's going to be even more difficult. But challenges in terms of sustainable economy and green jobs is something that it's going to be more difficult to adapt if you lack the resources, to put it simple as that. But then definitely there's a need for new educational profiles and a new approach toward the education, to think more how to focus the education system toward the skills and classification in that regard. We need more innovation and of course to permanently work on inclusive employment, and that's one of the keys challenges, and I think through inclusive employment to a certain degree we can affect certain demographic dilemmas, not to mention geopolitical challenges, but this is not topic today. But thank you for this.
Thank you very much.
I will give a general answer. In the context of demographical changes, we as the State Employment Agency of Latvia need to adapt our services also and make the wider range of our services to help not just with the trainings, with the necessary skills to employers and unemployed, but also with the work conditions to make their working lives better and longer.
Thank you, Eva. Then Nicole.
Yeah, many things have been said already, so I keep it short and simple, but really for the G7 group, we all agreed that it's really also important not only to collect data, but also to start a little bit in our own mindset to avoid stereotypical structures, and really to rethink also for the older workers, really to include them into the labor market. But first it needs to make a click a little bit into our own structures. So and that is what we're really doing with the working paper that will be published soon. So I give the word over to you for the Japanese.
Thank you for nice questions. And so as you know, Japan is the fastest aging countries. So our employment measures for the elderly is based on lifelong active society. So we have three cohorts. So first is for all the job seekers. So in public employment service offices in Japan, there are over 300 specialized area. So for all the job seekers. And the second is for companies. So we have some law so to encourage all the people to keep longer. And the third is local area. So in the collaboration with local government and organizations and the public employment service offices, and the local community. So these people strive to create community-based diverse work opportunities following its needs regardless of employment status. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup pour
Thank you so much for the presentation and experience from Japan. This roundtable was on what strategy for service public employment to deploy active solution facing the demographic challenges. We had the opportunity to hear from different experiences with panelists, important panelists as Nicole CLOBES from WAPES Belgium, Marcelo from the National for Labor, Ivan Babarika from Bosnia, Herzegovina, Michel from Netherland, and Mr. Ousseni from Burkina Faso. One word to take away is to create, to innovate and have interactions, not only bilateral but multilateral interactions in the framework of this association for public services employment. For me, the topic is broad, and I am sure that for the rest of the Congress, you will have the opportunity to interact, to get the slide and get inspired from the experience of other people. It was a pleasure for me to be the moderator. It was not easy because there were many things to be said. Thank you to the organizers that gave us more time for us to tackle this topic. Ladies and gentlemen, dear panelists, thank you.